You and I have a rendezvous with destiny. We'll preserve for our children this, the last best hope of man on earth, or we'll sentence them to take the last step into 1,000 years of darkness.
You take on the intelligence community, they have 6 ways from Sunday of getting back at you.
We're living in a very dangerous time right now, and liberalism has lost their cotton-picking mind.
The Trump folks, if they found out how we knew what we knew about the Trump staff's dealing with Russians, that they would try to compromise those sources and methods.
Nobody ever said anything about resisting Obama. They went at him on legitimate arguments.
I really do believe that much of what you saw coming out of Trump's mouth was a play from Putin's playbook.
Welcome to the Abolitionists Round Table, your all-access pass to exposing fake news, the resistance, and Barack Obama's shadow government undermining American progress. Be a part of the conversation at 734-822-1600. And now, your all-American hosts, Del Marsh and Phil Stargell.
And good morning. This is the Abolitionist Round Table of Michigan. This is your host, Phil Stargell. And I just there are some explosive things in the news this morning, and I would love to, I want to get right into it, but I want to know if any of you out there listening, paying attention to the news this morning when they talked about the Alabama judge that they are accusing of misconduct with minors, underage teens. And Derek, would you play that news clip again, please?
False and misleading. I'm Pam Puso, Fox News. That's how Alabama's Republican Senate candidate describes the sexual misconduct allegations against him.
Roy Moore is accused of making inappropriate sexual advances on 4 teenagers when he was in his 30s, including a 14-year-old girl. According to a report in the Washington Post, this happened over 3 decades ago. The age of consent in Alabama in the late 70s and now is 16. The then 14-year-old says the Senate hopeful kissed her and touched her over her bra and underpants. The other 3 accusers were between the ages of 16 and 18. As adults, they say the relationships were inappropriate. Moore denies the allegations.
Fox's Ellison Barber, several Republican leaders have called on Moore to drop out of the race if the allegations are true.
Yeah, and that is just shows you how bankrupt and morally degenerate the Democrat Party has gone. I mean, these people have always come up with these kind of dirty tricks, these October surprises, these ticking time bombs. What do you think the Fast and Furious thing was about? It was about the fact that they were trying to show that assault weapons, as they call them, and just legal guns were, it should be banned out of society. And the way to do that is to emphasize the carnage that can be committed. So they allowed these guns to go down into Mexico, where there is no there's no law down there. There's no rule of law. And it's so bad that we set up a refugee program for these people and allowed them to come across our borders, and they've been able to change America to their way of life down there. Now we've legalized drugs and marijuana, and we took a lot of people out of jails because of marijuana, because they said this is a harmless drug, and it's a nonviolent drug. So now we have an opiate problem because of so much use of marijuana by people, and now we've got a opiate addiction problem. And guess what? That'll be legal just like it is in Mexico. So the very thing that the Democrats do, they are always against the rule of law when it comes to a group of people that they can use for votes. And that's exactly what it is. They use the illegals. They use the drug addicts. They've used any type of group that they can form up that is against the laws of of this republic. They turn around and make the law the enemy and make the cause of the lawbreakers the cause to chip away at our traditions and chip away at the rule of law and chip away at the glue that binds this country into a country that is able to govern, where the people can govern themselves. And that's what we are in danger of losing. So now they are going to use laws that they routinely ignore to try to get this candidate to take himself out of the race, or to take enough people, put enough doubt in the people's mind to make them believe that this man is a lawbreaker. Now, I'm only saying to you, they in that hit piece just now, they didn't ask anything about what the timeline for all of this was supposed to be. You've heard nothing but to say that she was 14 years old. Okay, so what did he do with a 14-year-old? Did he know she was 14? Did she deceive him? Well, I know that there's a big thing about ignorance of the law is no excuse. But the point is that she has just made an accusation that's over 30 years old about something that may or may not even be illegal. It's her word against his word. Nobody can corroborate her side of the story, because if she knew she was 14 and he did not know she was 14, I'm sure that her parents might not have been too happy about her doing that. So I assume that she would hide it from her parents. So why wouldn't she hide it from him? So the whole thing is, and the last point I'd like to make about this, you got people like John McCain and this representative out of New York, I think it was King, that said that he ought to resign or get out of the race or whatever. And of course, Barbara Murkowski and a few others are saying that this man should take himself out of this race. Well, if he takes himself out of the race, what does that leave us? It leaves a Democrat in that office, that would probably win that election. So that tells me that people like John McCain and Barbara Murkowski that are trying to get this elections to swing into the direction of the Democrats, that tells me that these people should be in the Democrat Party, but they have been obstructing the agenda of this president that we have, President Trump. They have been on the forefront of blocking his agenda, and there's a reason for it. These people are enemies of this country. John McCain attained the highest level when he came in to be the nominee for president, to run for the presidency of the United States. And I always thought that he did everything he could to lose that election. And he's never done anything that I can see that would change my mind. The man should be a Democrat, because his morals and his with the Keating Five and his involvement in when he was a POW, he had to be pardoned after he come back out of there because of his activities in there. So that ought to tell you everything you need to know about him. But I'm just amazed that the Democrats never ever run out of the remains of the sewer that they reside in. I mean, these people come up with some of the lowest and the most degrading things that you could ever think of to put on, and their behavior. I mean, let's look at the behavior of Bill Clinton when he was in office. Look at the behavior of Hillary Clinton when she was the nominee. I mean, the things that these people done. And let's not forget the behavior of Barack Hussein Obama. This guy is responsible for a lot of the stuff that has happened, because he set up these time bombs, these ticking time bombs that went off under a Republican administration. You see, the thing is, let's look at the bump stock. The bump stock, it was on his watch that was approved for production and distribution in this country. And so, for one or two reasons, in my estimation. One, he could make the Republicans look bad, because some idiot is going to use that as a statement. Some idiot, and we saw it in Las Vegas. Now, if Hillary had won the elections, first thing she would have done would have been to ban that particular thing and the assault rifles. See, she would have used that to ban the assault rifle. So this, in my estimation, was a plot, and maybe not so much by Obama, but by his people in his administration. Some of the dirty trick squad that reside in all of the Democrat Party campaigns. There's a dirty trick squad. They call it the war room. They're at war with the American people. And half of the American people don't have sense enough to realize it, but the Democrat Party has never quit fighting the Civil War. Proof of that is they never call it a Civil War. They call it the war between the states. So we know that they never signed off on that anyhow. So anyway, getting back to Judge Roy Moore. They set out this gentleman. Their argument with him has always been a religious one. Could you imagine the Democrat Party putting this kind of war up against, let's say, the Muslims? I mean, they allow for a lot of behavior out of Islamists under the freedom of religion. But there's no freedom of religion for white American males, because once you say anything about it, they say that you're hiding, using your religion, you're hiding to hide behind, and then you want to use your religion to deny rights to other people. But they never say anything about the atrocious attitude to other people that are not in the Islamic faith. So, and they do everything they can to get as many of that faith into this country, because they know that as long as they have their position, there will be a reliable vote, because until they are the majority, they vote Democrat, but once they get a majority, they vote Muslim. So the intent of these various groups is dubious at best, but yet and still the war in this country is not against foreign religions or foreign ideology. It's against American religion and American ideology. If your ideology says that you're a conservative, you are under the gun and you are under fire. Proof of that is Congressman Scalise. It wasn't Muslims, it wasn't black people, it wasn't Chinese people, it was white American, guess what? Conservative Republicans that were under fire that day. So, but everything has to be that that Donald Trump is a racist, Donald Trump is a white supremacist. Nobody has ever shown me one piece of evidence that Donald Trump or David Bannon or any of the Republicans that they want to label as racist and white supremacists. Nobody's ever shown me any evidence that any of that is anywhere near true. So I'm going to get on the subject of that is next in line, but that is the NFL players, because they want to tell you and tell me that it's not about the flag and it's not about the national anthem, but they are angry because of what? And I asked that question probably 2 months ago on this program. I asked, what is their beef? Their beef is they are angry that Donald Trump is the president and he is doing what he said he would do. And that is, he is going to shake up Washington, and he's shaking Washington up. And what has happened is you see that the swamp that he vowed to drain, the swamp monsters are fighting back, and they and this is why I'm saying that we as Republicans, as conservatives, we have got to get out there and show some support, because every day you hear one thing and one thing only: President Trump's approval rating. They are going to harp on that, and they're going to use that to get what they ultimately want, and that is an indictment on some people that they can figure out some kind of way to get an indictment on President Trump. That's their goal. It isn't just to run his poll numbers down, because one thing about it, impeachment is political. And if you have the side of the people, you can get away with mounting an impeachment campaign. And Republicans, they're not going to retaliate because you try to impeach the president and you miss. But you can believe the Democrats will. So I'm just telling people that you've got to take a little lesson from history. See, a lot of people seem to have forgotten some history, because when they impeached Richard Nixon, they put in some ticking time bombs that are going off right now. And one of them is, and the worst one is baseline budgeting. That is the worst thing. Look at what the deficit numbers are today because of them putting in this form of financing debt. This is probably the worst thing that we've ever had, and it probably precludes us from ever being able to get a balanced budget again because of the monstrous numbers. I think we could probably have gotten close to it if we were able to get a budget in and cut these taxes this year. But it doesn't look like that because of a situation just like we see here. We got obstructionist Democrats and we've got traitorous Republicans in the Senate, and they are determined that there's not going to be any successes coming out of Donald Trump administration, not in this year. So what we have to do, and I would hope I could get people to agree with me. What we have to do is we have to show them that all of this smear campaign that they have mounted through the Democrat Party, all of the efforts to discredit the intention and the results of the Trump administration, all of those things we can nullify all of that if we turn out at the polls and we put good Republicans in, not these rhinos. We've got to get rid of them. And if we do that, we show the world that this Democrat Party that is so determined to destroy the traditions and the actual documents of this country, because they are anti-republicanism, and I'm talking about to the detriment of the country, to the destruction of the country. They are that anti-republicanism, and that is not Republican Party. That is republicanism, because they want to tell you that our democracy is this, and we've got to maintain a democracy. Well, a democracy has shown people time and time again that it means nothing because they have no traditions that they honor, and they shown it day after day after day when they trample on our flag, they kneel and grovel at the intent of the national anthem. And the Democrat Party is four square behind it. Now they even want, the NAACP in California has suggested that they replace the national anthem. But these are the kind of things that a bunch of people that don't know what it is that they are about to lose. These are the kind of things that tell you that this is what the country will become if we allow the Democrat Party to use their dirty tricks and their ticking time bombs to sideline an attempt to make this country what it used to be and what it could be again. And that's where that's what the whole thing is about. They want to take this country to almost to the Civil War days when they started their treasonous. The Democrat Party started their treasonous thing. Folks, if you'd like to get in on the conversation, you can do that by joining us at 734-822-1600. And we're going to go to break, and we'll be back after these messages.
Sempre un amabile leggiadro viso in pianto e riso.
You're listening to the Abolitionists Round Table with your hosts, Del and Phil. They're exposing the left's underground resistance while leading the charge in the fight for liberty. Join the conversation at 734-822-1600.
Hello, I'm Milt, and this is Logically Speaking Uncensored. Is the United States a nation of laws or a nation of outlaws? The United States Constitution enshrined into words the laws of governance, which fostered the belief that it was a nation of laws where no one, regardless of status, influence, politics, wealth, or elitism, was exempted above the law. Confidence in the impartiality of constitutional laws formed the exceptionalism which made the United States unique. But unrelenting assaults upon the Constitution by anti-American, Christian-hating collectivists, insurrectionists, and treasonous politicians is rapidly transforming the United States into a nation of Democrat Party-approved outlaws. During President Obama's Democrat regime, abandonment of legal laws and Constitution violations were epidemic. Its jurisprudence integrity was implemented. Obama, Hillary Clinton, Lois Lerner of the IRS, Attorney General Loretta Lynch, and National Security Advisor Susan Rice, and outlaw officials who support sanctuary enclaves for illegal immigrants would be indicted as criminals. However, as protected elites, they set themselves above the law. One of President Obama's most flagrant unlawful violation was his executive order called Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, known as DACA, which is a backdoor scheme to grant illegal immigrant offsprings de facto amnesty. The dictionary defined one who settled on property without right or title of ownership as a squatter. Squatting is unlawful and a crime, and no matter the length of occupancy, a squatter cannot convey or transfer that which they don't own. Therefore, every DACA and development relief and education for alien minors, commonly called dreamers, if they are illegal, by definition are squatters. During Hurricane Irma, I saw a video of some people in Florida stealing and looting merchandise from a store. According to the law, their actions were unacceptable crimes, and they were outlaws, subject to adjudication. But how can justice be served if another crime, illegal immigration, is promoted as acceptable without adjudication? But for illegal immigration apparatchiks in their zeal to legitimize and proselytize illegal immigrant squatters as future Democrat voters are destroying the United States as a nation of laws and equal justice. If a sovereign nation cannot deport or expel outlaws, then its borders will be open to lawlessness. If a sovereign nation cannot deport or expel illegal immigrants, such as DACA or Dreamers, then every incarcerated criminal under equal justice should be released. As the nation moves closer to the crossroads of civility or incivility, Americans must choose being a nation of laws or a nation of outlaws, where mayhem, beatings, murder, and violence is committed without fear of retributions. However, if deportations are too severe, then illegal immigrant squatters should be required to register their residency so the nation will know what, where, and who is here. I am Milt, logically speaking, uncensored, saying, think about it.
And that was Milt Harris, again, with striking commentary that hits right at the point. And thanks again, Milt, for sending that over. We might as well do a few phone calls here. We're going to go to line one, and we got Gary from Hazel Park. Good morning, Gary.
Hey, good morning, brother.
Yeah, you want to talk about our favorite POW, Colonel Klink.
Oh, yeah. This is not really specific about him, but he's involved in it because he's been there all these years, you know. And people wonder how we got to the position we're in. How is it that our country is in such sad shape? And quite literally, and to the point, it's the federal government. The federal government is the most dangerous thing to the American way of life that we have right now.
Amen.
Who gave us no-fault divorce? The government. Who gave us abortion on demand? The government. Open borders. All the social programs that would enslave generations. The government. Homosexuality and all manner of perverts are now a protected class. The government. Who's responsible for the destruction of the family and marriage? The government. So the people who we elected to put up in those high offices to protect us, to defend us, have just done nothing of the sort for decades now. And our country has turned into pretty much a disgrace.
Yes,
There's so much corruption and so much evil going on in the high offices of our country that it's hardly recognizable. And it's because of our government. And John McCain was there the whole time. So I hold him personally responsible. And he obviously has done horrible things these last year. I mean, the things this man has done, he deserves all the contempt that we can give him.
Yeah, and we gave him a real benefit of the doubt. We elevated him to a high position. I wasn't part of that. I did have to get out and vote for him, and I will admit that. And I was angry about it, and I'm really struggled with it. And I waited till the very last minute to make my mind up. But at least I didn't do like our former president and vote for the opposition, like him and his family. I mean, I think that George Bush and his father, George Bush Sr. and Jeb Bush, they will never ever get anything good out of my mouth toward their direction for doing what they did. I would have much better that they not, kept their opinion to themselves, because it shows how much damage it can be done. Look at how much damage John McCain has done by letting everybody know just how cantankerous he could be and how vindictive he could be. And this is what I have against these type of people, and they have to be taken out of the Republican Party on voting day.
That would be great. And one last thing, when they had all those 5 presidents together standing there with Lady Gaga, I couldn't figure out what was the biggest clown on the stage, because you had 5 ex-presidents, and they were all scum. And that's real bad. That's real horrible for the track record of America, that we had 5 men up there, and not one of them was worth a damn.
Yeah, and boy, I tell you that it does say something about America that we, have got to go to those type of people that have no honor at all. I mean, because I could point out a lot of them that have turned their back on this country, in my estimation, because they've opened up the borders. That is the biggest problem that we are going to be faced. And then, my black people that I'm part of that culture, they are aiding and abetting the Democrat Party in destroying this country. And that's all that can be said about it. And it's gotta be put out there. I'm wondering, where are the conservatives that are black, that are supposed to be Republican, that are supposed to be in this particular president's cabinet? And what happened to Ben Carson? What is he doing to defend the policies and stuff of this? He needs to get out there and start doing some talking. Every black American that claims to be a conservative ought to be out there outraged at what is going on with the Democrat Party and in the Republican Party also.
Yeah, but I don't think Ben Carson has ever been outraged any day of his life. He's not that kind of man.
Yeah, I know, but it's time.
I'd like to change something I said. Jimmy Carter was not a scum. He just was not prepared. The other guys, yes, but Jimmy Carter doesn't fit the same category as the other guys.
Yeah, well, but he's a dyed-in-the-wool Democrat, and he believes that nonsense because these people care nothing for the traditions of this country, and the traditions are the only thing that is capable of saving this country because we have to defend those traditions. We have to defend those documents. They're the glue that holds this country together. It ain't diversity. It's the American spirit that is what made this country great and is what has to be returned to make it great again. And
yes,
we've got
sir.
people like John McCain standing in the way of that.
Yes, sir. You have a good day.
All right. Thank you. Thanks for your call. We're going to go to line 3 and then Jenny. Good morning, Jenny.
Morning, Phil. How you doing?
I'm doing terrific. How about you?
Oh, I can't complain. I just want to point out that this whole Roy Moore thing, it goes way back. It's the old establishment Democrat. Also, the two things there. It's their old playbook. Both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Look at what they tried to do to Clarence Thomas.
Mm-hmm.
Look what they tried to do to Herman Cain.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
don't forget Judge Bork.
Right, there you go. It's the same old playbook, and Trump fell into it. I'm ashamed of him.
Yeah, did Trump cave in to their demands that he say that he ought to resign or whatever?
He said that if it was true,
yeah,
that he should step down, that he should get out of the race. Shame on him.
Yeah, I understand that him having to make a statement, but and then basically you do understand that that's a qualification. He's qualifying his statement. He's saying if it's true,
No, I know that, but.
But see, the thing is that regardless of whether it's true or not, he doesn't have any culpability for prosecution, because I know the statute of limitations has gone. If he did do what they said he did, he didn't commit a murder. I mean, that's the only thing where there's no statute. This is 30 years in the past.
I heard that the lady was 16 and it was legal anyways in Alabama for 16.
Well, yeah, but one of them, she said that she was 14 at the time.
Oh, well, I don't know, but she'll go away if he steps down. She'll just fade in the woodwork, just like Anita Hill did, and just like other people did.
But see, the thing about it is, there's a double standard that exists, and the Democrats know this. They know that the whole idea of it is, if it was something that they had on a Democrat, the news media would look at it and say, well, the statute of limitations are gone. There's no point in bringing this out.
They're just mad because people are getting on Harvey Weinstein.
Yeah, exactly. And so they, these people, look what they did to Trump. Look how long they sit on that thing that they knew about Trump.
Right.
You see, they didn't bring it out until it was in a position where it could really hurt him. They knew it. They could have done it. They could have brought it out in the first part of the election, but they knew that that it wouldn't have the effect that it would have when they put it out. They put it out like a couple of weeks before the election.
Yeah, right. And then who steps up yesterday? Good old John McCain.
Yeah.
Lindsey Graham.
Yeah.
The whole mess.
Barbara Murkowski.
Yes.
Wasn't that? I think I heard something about that Stephen King. Not Stephen King. That King from New York.
Yeah.
I think he said something also. But
And that idiot from Arizona, I think, that guy too.
the Flake?
Yes.
Jeff the Flake? Yeah,
Yes.
see, this is the kind of thing that tells us, again, you know, if we bring out the enthusiasm that we had in 2009 when a bunch of us went down to Washington, D.C., if we could recapture that enthusiasm and get primary these clowns like Barbara Mikowski and whoever, you know, and primary like they did, but she was able to pull it off because the Democrats pulled over and voted for her. But the thing is that this time they're not going to do that. They're going to try to do everything they can to elect Democrats because they want numbers. And so what we can do is if we could get some of those seats that they have to protect this year, and that should be our only goal, is to like here in Detroit, in Michigan, our number one goal is to elect Pat Colbeck. So he's bucking the establishment anyhow. So that would play right into primary and these clowns that aren't doing what they're supposed to do, and encouraging other states to primary the people like Susan Collins, but she's not running. But people like that, and John McCain, and let's develop a bench, you know, and let's get these fools out of there. I mean, this is just unacceptable what the Democrats are doing and what the Republicans are letting be done.
And I hope that people in Alabama are smarter.
Oh, I'm sure they are, because they have. I've seen people down there, heard people talking to people, and I heard call-ins, and they are saying things like, you know, we're behind him and all of that. So, but a suggestion like Barbara Mikowski made from Alaska, what she said is that Luther Strange out to mount a write-in campaign, and you know exactly what that's for. That is to help that Democrat get in there. That shows you how poisonous that thinking is in the Republican Party.
Yes, sir, but I would like to remind everyone of one thing. These people are not in control. God is still in control, and God is still on the throne. And that's why I have hope for life and even for the country at times.
Yes, me too. And we get good news, and but things like this happen. And of course, you know, we get mad, but what it does is it exposes our flank. You know what I mean? Those people out there on our flank, like Mikowski and Susan Collins and all of that, that should give us the incentive to get rid of these people because they have failed us time and time and time again. John McCain failed us. I mean, I said when he was running, I'm saying, well, whose side is he on? You know, I mean, I had to vote for that fool, and and I was really angry about it. And but he did and said some things that I think were, just ambiguous at best about what side.
I know what he did to Sarah Palin. I was unconscionable.
Yes, it was, and
I felt bad about it. And that's the time when I made a mistake and I didn't vote. Because I couldn't stand him, and of course, I couldn't stand Obama. Yeah. So I just didn't vote that time. I was wrong. I should have swallowed it and voted for McCain. Yeah, but whatever we can do, we have got to get out there this time, and we've got, because like I said, we're fighting three battles. We're fighting these fools in the Republican Party. We're fighting the Democrats, and then we're fighting the opposition from outside the country. I mean, so anyway, yep.
We are in a tough battle here.
Yes, sir.
So we got to consolidate. We have got to get the people that think alike, like Theron calls them, we the thinking. We have got to get these people and get that enthusiasm back that we had in 2009, and then in 2012 when we turned the tide. We took back the Senate. We took back the House. We took back the Senate, and then we come in and took the presidency. That's the way it should be.
Well, I'm praying for that, and that's about all I can do, and keep going to the ballot box. But
the one thing that I think we ought to do, we got the blueprint. We got to we've got to get the Tea Parties back up like they were. We got to get them out there. I don't necessarily mean that we got to get out there and like we did before, because like there was some days that it was below zero out there, and we were out there. So and it was hot, but we were out there. I don't know if it'll take that this time, because we know some things, but we just need to reignite that passion that we had and see the evil that we are fighting. It is evil for somebody to do this type of thing time after time after time, come up with these October surprises, and then turn around and accuse the opposition of doing it. I mean, it's just insane.
Yes, sir. So thank you for the discussion, and thank you for your time, and thank you for what you do, Phil. And I'm one of Pastor Max's.
Yes.
I go to his church.
Yes, and I just absolutely think Pastor Max is the greatest. He is a well of knowledge. I mean, that is just incredible. One man can have that much knowledge.
Well, why don't you and your wife come down?
And
hang out with us sometime.
Yeah, I'm coming. Believe me, I'm coming.
And I play piano up there.
Yes,
so
yes.
If you come and see me up there.
Okay, will do. I will do. And believe me, it is in the works.
Well, I hope so, because God wants you someplace.
Yes, I hear you.
He does.
And real quick, it's just some things that I'm doing, and I'm trying to get all of the ends together, because but I'm getting that straightened out, and I will be back in like I was doing before.
Well, if you come to our church, we'd love to have you, Phil.
Well, I would love to get there, and I will be there pretty soon. That's a promise.
I don't know where you live, but it's way down here in Newport.
Yeah, I've been down there before.
Okay.
I've been there before, so
okay.
It's just a matter of time, and I'll be on. I'll be like a regular.
But try to get me before service, because my friends, they want to hightail it out of there after, and I never get to stay.
I will promise you that because we've had conversations over quite a few years. So
I'll give you and your wife a big old hug.
Oh yeah.
And make sure that you're welcome.
All righty, I will, and we're coming. Believe me.
Okay, well,
and thanks for the invitation. And I would definitely seek you out.
Okay, and God bless you, Phil. God bless you, and thank you so much for everything.
Well, thank you, and God bless you.
Okay.
And folks, we I just want to say that it has been an honor this morning. And I want us to think about what I said about revitalizing the Tea Parties. See you next week, folks, and we'll have another hard-hitting
The Abolitionist Round Table invites the Wham Talk 1600 listeners to continue the roundtable discussions by mailing correspondence to Art of Michigan, Post Office Box 135, Garden City, Michigan 48135.
Or follow Phil and Del at artofmichigan.com. You can also send emails to artofmichigan@hotmail.com. And most of all, continue to listen every Saturday and tell a friend.